I was a pro mountain biker for 15 years, and I guess I still am now, working for GMBN, talking about bikes, riding bikes. And let me tell you what, it is a good gig. But here's a few things I wish I'd have known when I was a youngster trying to be a professional mountain biker. Number one, and I hate to start it on a bit of a downer, but I guess you've got to be quite realistic about it. Making money out of being a professional mountain biker is quite a precarious way of making money. You'll have some ups and downs along the way, and you might find that even if you're getting paid some money from a team to ride, that can evaporate at any time. You know, recessions come and go, marketing budgets come and go, and one decision from one person might mean that you don't get paid next year. So you've got to be realistic about it, except for if you're the very best. And then those guys and girls have it pretty sort of assured that they're going to get paid, but it's not an easy way to make a living. Having said that, I do think things have changed since I was trying to become a pro in like the early 2000s, a long time ago. Things have changed, and I actually think there are more entry points now to becoming a pro mountain biker, and arguably it's a bit easier. There are different ways you can make money. When I started out, it was all pretty much about being competitive. You either had to be a racer or a trials rider, and you had to be good at those things for companies to come knocking on the door and wanting to pay you. But even in those days, there were some riders that were really sort of media savvy. Trials riders, people like Martin Ashton, do you remember that guy? I wonder what he's doing these days. But people like Martin were really good at being competitive, so doing the trials competitions, but also doing media work, so going to the magazines, you know, pitching articles, getting their bikes, their faces in the magazines. And there were racers doing that as well, people like Steve Pete, Rob Bourne in the UK. And they were really making sure that the companies that sponsored them were getting sort of bang for their buck. Nowadays, like I said, there's way more entry points. You could do social media, like there's Instagram riders that that's all they do. YouTube, obviously, we're on YouTube, hello, but there's lots of pro riders doing that. And arguably nowadays, you don't maybe have to be quite as good. You don't have to be winning races, but you have to be really good at promoting yourself in a genuine, authentic way. Because if you're not doing that, then you're not going to get the following, and you're not going to get the money that comes with that. That is a corner I love, and I still love riding bikes. You probably find that most people that turn into pro mountain bikers just start out real natural progression. They love riding their bikes, they get better at it. Somehow they'll get a bit of attention either in the media or at events, and then really that's when things start sort of snowballing for a lot of riders. It's when you get a company comes to you and they say, we like your style, we think you should ride in our kit or on our bikes, because they want to bring attention to their stuff. And step one on the sponsorship ladder is getting free gear. And I did that. Luckily, I was supported by a really friendly local bike shop where I was loaned a bike, given all the gear I needed to ride in, to race downhill in, and help with spares like tyres. And actually, I got stuck at step one for probably a few years, but I kind of graduated a little bit. Next one, I rode for a magazine. I remember as an 18-year-old driving my Nissan Micra to the magazine HQ, filling it with free stuff like helmets, tyres, shoes, everything, handlebar seats. So that was a progression. And then I went to actually Royal Racing when Steve Pete, the legendary UK racer, started Royal. I was one of the first riders there, and that's when I got proper bikes. So I had 3 different bikes, again all loaned to me, but it was the next step up. After that, fortunately, I went to the proper next stage of actually getting a wage. So I was then sort of winning junior nationals, starting to race World Cups, getting around the top 20, and that's when I was offered proper money. Although it was quite a small wage, I was then a pro mountain biker with a team, a truck, a mechanic, and I guess that's when it really started for me. I then moved on after 4 years to a bigger, proper factory team where I was riding Santa Cruz bikes, just more support. After that, I kind of then went on to riding for myself, because I kind of got stuck on that stage where actually we did go into recession, the marketing budget got cut, my ride evaporated overnight. So I went from having a bike, all the kit, to having nothing. So from then on, I went to race enduro and I did things differently. I sorted all my deals myself. So I'd have a bike frame sponsor, a handlebar sponsor, a cleaning sponsor. So lots of little pockets of money. And if I lost one of those, I could just go and try and replace it. So it was a much safer way of making a living. Don't forget then, I was actually getting 4 free bikes a year that were mine to keep. So that made up a big portion of my wages. At the end of the year, I would sell those bikes, get some new ones, and then it felt like I was a proper professional mountain biker. I think it's easy to forget sometimes how dangerous mountain biking can be, and injuries can cost you your job. For the teams that I rode for, both of them actually had in the contract that if I couldn't ride or race for more than 2 weeks, that they had the option to not pay me. Luckily, they never did that, because I did get injured sometimes. And I've had my fair share of injuries over the years, nothing serious, but it's a bit of a shame to say that I do know lots of people that have had serious mountain bike injuries, and I don't know many other jobs where getting hurt can actually cost you your way of earning a living. Almost anyone can be a professional mountain biker these days, which I think is amazing. When I was starting, it was racing, the route I chose, and it was really black or white. There was a time at the end that gave you your result, and if you were good enough, you would stay up there, you would get attention. And for a long time, I kind of felt like I had imposter syndrome when I was racing the likes of Steve Peat and Greg Minnaar. But obviously the Times said that sometimes I was pretty good and it was good enough to make me a pro, whereas now it's just a completely different landscape, like I've already said about social media. But just need to pick up your phone and go into Instagram, TikTok, and see these people there that are really good at riding mountain bikes, but they're really good at putting themselves out there. You could go down the sick edit route or the funny TikTok. We're seeing a lot of people that aren't your sort of average pro mountain bikers from 20 years ago actually making a living. And the way you can make a living now, even through things like Instagram, like selling subscriptions on YouTube with ad revenue. There's so many different ways of being a pro mountain biker now that I think almost anyone can do it. I guess one last thing I always find being a pro, I find quite hard sometimes, is my motivation levels. I think even if you're not competitive, you still got to be really motivated, because there's so many people trying to do what you want to do. You need to be better than them. And for me, I think it's when I went to enduro racing. First year I wasn't fit enough. I needed like a massive kick up the bum to get motivated. And that winter I trained really hard. It felt like me, like I'm at that point, I was kind of working a crappy job. It was fine, I was in a bike shop, but it's not where I wanted to be. And I had to choose, carry on, trying really hard to be a pro, or go elsewhere. So you've got to be a motivated individual, I think, to be a pro mountain biker. All right, there's a few things I kind of wish I'd known when I turned pro. Let me know in the comments if you would love to do it yourself. And I guess I would never have known that 23 years later, I'd still be a pro mountain biker, sort of. One day I might graduate to being an e-biker. When I get a little bit older, I'll be a full-time e-bike pro. Yeah, sounds good to me. Anyway, give us a thumbs up.